Chapter 86. Oh Lord, they comin'. Summary. Last time, stealth. This time, violence. Katsuki cracks his knuckles as the four of them walk into the very front of the ship. Deku and Ochako had lasted surprisingly long sneaking around, but it'd only been a matter of time before the two chaotic dumbasses got seen. He'd heard their planning. It was a wonder the whole ship didn't know they had hitchhikers after the first time a small body was launched haphazardly. Knowing how their stupid plans seemed to work out more often than not, he had a feeling it wasn't even the appropriately labeled Plan Y that had led to their discovery and call for backup. Whatever happened, their cover was blown, and now that their cover was blown, there was no need for stealth. Katsuki's grin sharpened. Right up his alley. Honestly, this whole next part of the plan was right up his alley. Crime school was surprisingly intriguing when it came to the more showy practices. And this next part was definitely showy. The four of them came to a stop before a cone-shaped room. Heavy-duty doors lay in front and behind them at this point, while chairs with support bars, not unlike on a bus, lined the small space's walls. Mina and her mentor, Nula, the reptilian-like alien, grab hold of the sturdy bars, while his mentor, Swackle, the buff alien with the jacket from when they'd first arrived, sat down with a cheerful swing of his legs. Katsuki scoffed. For all he looked like a college football player, he was the softy of the group. The softy and weapons expert because those things fit so well together. Sunyu had told them the story of how Swackle knocked a guy unconscious with what was basically a combat baseball bat in an alleyway, but the sound woke up a little stray animal, and the guy had cried for nearly an hour about disrupting its sleep. The fucker was just like Deku, and somehow he'd gotten stuck with him overseeing his portion of the exam. "We're coming in hot!" Dinky exclaimed over the helmet's comms. "Brace for impact!" Katsuki wound his hand around the nearest bar and braced himself. He could see why Swackle had chosen to sit down when his entire body lurched forward with the sudden stop of the ship. His brain fuzzed for a moment from the abrupt impact, but he pushed it aside in favor of moving towards the door. Groaning metal screeched like a stampede of elephants in a blender as the front of the ship began to open, forcing apart the metal walls of what the ship had crashed into. Forcing a hole into the kidnapper's ship, ready for the four of them to board through. He's not sure which of the pirates had decided that crashing their ship into other ships was a good way to board them, but whoever it was, he liked the way they thought. The door separating them from the newly accessible enemy ship opened with familiar hiss. "Let's go! Remember, we want to take down as many of these guys as we can. Anything above permanently injuring someone or killing them is allowed, unless it's life or death, in which case you take them down however you need to before they can kill you or someone else," Squawkle recited as they ducked through the slightly jagged entry point. "Got it!" Mina grinned, while Katsuki just nodded in acknowledgement. Lethal force only when someone's life was on the line. Then, and only then. Nuela unhooked a large canister from his belt once the group was a little ways away from the hole. His deep purple tail swished calmly behind him as he pulled the pin out and threw the cylindrical thing back where they'd come from. In an instant, the whole area, nearly up to the reptilian sentient, was filled with lime-green foam. "You should be good to disengage now," Swackle spoke over his comm. The whole space shook, with what could only be the Sharon removing itself from the other ship's side. At the sound of heavily approaching footsteps, Katsuki turned around and grinned. The real fun was about to begin. It wasn't hard to tell when Katsuki and Mina arrived, given the entire ship lurched suddenly to the side. The dragon aliens that responded to the still unconscious orange-scaled dragon did not have the privilege of a warning chirped by Mei through the comms, and promptly smashed into the walls and floor. "Kole, take Ochako and find the princess. Izuku and I can handle them," Moyue hissed into the comms, low enough that the still-dazed aliens couldn't hear. The golden-haired sentient only gave a swift nod in response, before turning down the hall, clearly expecting Ochako to follow her. And she did, just not before letting out a quiet, "Stay safe, Deku," and getting her own nod and smile in return. The pair sprint through the halls, all stealth forgotten, as they let loud footfalls echo in their wake. "We've covered most of this level, but there's still 2 more to go. We'll be interrupted a lot more often now that everyone's looking for us, so we've got to end fights fast. Stairs are a dangerous choke point, though, so if we see anyone, I'll take them out and you cuff them," Collei informs her as they head for a door labeled stairs. As luck would have it, the stairwell is very much not empty. 2 people she can see, and more she can hear up its twisting passage. Collei lets out an, "Of course the universe is doing this," kind of sigh, before dashing forward. It's with a jumping kick she takes out the first one, just at the bottom of the stairs, before stepping over them and continuing up. Ochako wastes no time rushing forward to secure the dazed dragon, retching their hands behind their back, just like Gunhead taught her, and securing their magnetic cuffs. The sunset color dragon lets out a gruff, "Fuck!" as they're tugged against the wall. Ochako pays them no mind as she steps to secure the next one, this time unconscious. But the same gruff voice from behind her diverts her attention. "You filthy criminal! You don't have the authority to detain me! You're breaking the law!" Ochako can't help but glance back to level the man with her best unimpressed stare. "You literally kidnapped someone, and no, I'm not breaking the law. Unfortunately." The dragon man scoffs as Ochako gets ready to stand and continue, the unconscious yellow dragon taken care of. "Pirates like you know nothing of the laws you break. You and your band of criminals will pay for this," says the actual criminal in the room. Like, what's his problem? "Well, me and my family are definitely pirates. We're not criminals. The 6 of us are representatives of our people, and we've been given the go-ahead to uphold the basic rights they believe everyone deserves. Like, I don't know, the right to not be kidnapped. If the space government doesn't like it, they can talk to our people about it, but that hasn't happened yet, so shishy." By the time she's done talking, she's around the bend and out of sight of the alien. Ochako doubts they'll believe her, but they've got to spread their lore whenever they can. And being ordered on behalf of the rest of their presumably just as powerful people is a nice little bit of technically true lore to sprinkle in. By the time Ochako catches up with Collei, she's officially run out of fancy cuffs, but they've made it up the stairs, so hopefully that won't be a problem. Hopefully the princess is on this floor. That's one too many hopefullys for her taste, but Ochako isn't about to fret over them when her mentor pulls her in for a conversation. "Was that true?" Collei asks, scanning the doors as they start away from the stairs. Ochako does her best to look out for a cell block or any other room that could contain a princess. "Yeah, when our planet caught wind of us ending up across the universe, they decided to make us the first official representatives of our planet. They even dusted off this old thing called a letter of marque for us to legally uphold the basic rights for sentience without trouble. Well, more to show the Galactic Alliance that if they mess with us, they're going against the authority of our planet and its inhabitants, and they're too chicken to do that. They've known we're sentient for hundreds of years, but decided they didn't want to touch our planet with a 10-foot pole or something. That may have worked when we didn't know other sentient life existed in the universe, but thanks to a certain group fucking around, the rest of the universe is liable to find out. Still, I hope we're never in a situation where we have to pull the card, but it's nice to have it, even if crime license technically means no crime." Collei slows down for a moment to give Ochako a quick look that's become common since getting flung into space. The, "What in the fuck is going on with your planet, and are you okay?" kind of look.